So, good morning, everybody. This is Marie Tony with Get Clients Everywhere at getclientseverywhere.com. And I am here welcoming you to this next episode of Share Your Shine. And this time we are shining the light on the amazing Betty Emrey. And Betty is a WPDN member. She is one of my confidants in terms of my business consulting, and I'll tell you a little bit about that as we go on. But Betty is a marketing expert, and she is the owner of Use Your Words Marketing. So we're going to get into marketing, messaging, branding, all those kinds of good things here today. So Betty, thanks for joining us. I'm excited to put the spotlight on you.
Thank you, Marie. This is so much fun to be here with you. I'm looking forward to it too.
Well, we can have some fun. I want to share a little bit about who Betty is. And I've known Betty for quite a number of years. And then professionally, in the past, maybe 3, 4, 5-ish years, something like that, we've actually done some work together. So I have been one of Betty's clients and hired her to do some writing for me in the area of sales pages for my group mastermind program and my Speaker Savvy VIP experience. I know some of you are familiar with that program. And it's just been really fun, but she specializes in doing target branded marketing for her clients. And she has worked for what, over 25 years, I think, in the marketing industry with big companies, big industry, and multi industries. And then does a lot of work now with people in the space that we're in the solopreneur industry, because God knows we need her skill set and her brilliance. So, is there a particular industry or a particular thing that you like to do most with your marketing? And let's talk a little bit about that and why you think that's so important for people like us to really link arms with somebody that is an expert in that area and the difference it makes.
One of the things that I really love doing, and this is like even when I was working with big clients, now working with smaller clients, solopreneurs and small businesses, is just really figuring out what the company is all about. What is this business about? And figuring out who its clients are and why is that company the perfect fit for this particular client. So I love making those connections and learning about people's businesses. And I also love learning about why they love their businesses so much too. And I always feel like every time I get a new client, it's like getting a new job where I have to learn the whole industry and learn like everything there is to know. And I get so excited about learning it. So that's one of my favorite things is figuring that part out.
I love that too, because and when I get a new client, I have to do the same things. Like, who are they, and how do they work, and who do they serve, and what's their messaging, and what's their way that they deliver their thing. And that is exactly what Betty does with her clients. What she did with me is spent, a long time really interviewing me and taking copious notes of exactly what I said, what exactly came out of my mouth. I always remember the Uncle Guido thing.
Uncle Guido, don't make me call Uncle Guido.
Which is something I just say as a joke all the time, and she put it in my sales page. I just thought that was hilarious. I've told that story many times, by the way.
It had to be there.
You know, it's just really fun. But you really kind of work and help people create marketing that connects. And you know that I'm very much into connecting
Yeah.
and prospering. Say a little bit about marketing that connects for our listeners and our viewers so they really understand what we mean by that.
So I always want to talk in language that the market understands. So like one of the worst things that happens to business owners is that we become experts in what we do and we tend to talk with other people who are kind of experts in our business a lot. So we can use a shorthand even if it's not acronyms or anything obvious, we can talk in ways about our businesses that other people don't necessarily understand why that matters. So I'm always trying to make sure that I'm using language that your clients will understand, your prospective clients will understand, so that when you say what you do, they go, "Oh, I need that." And so it's not in language they don't realize that they need.
Yeah, I think that's very essential because, I read a lot of newsletters or I read people's marketing materials, and, many people, I congratulate them for getting it out there because it takes something, especially if they're not a trained marketer or they kind of suffer around writing.
Yeah.
But sometimes what comes out from people when they're promoting a program is like the information.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that really highlights the transformation of going from what it was like before they did this, what could be possible. And I think you have a great way of asking the right questions to determine that for us.
Yeah, that's one of the things that even if I'm in an industry where I've done like 6 or 7 or 10 or more of that thing, I still want to know what it is about this particular company and how they do it that's unique and special for their clients. Because that's the way you connect with, that's how you give your ideal clients clues that you're their ideal problem solver, you know?
I like that. I it's a question I ask people all the time. It's like, well, why are you the one? Why are you the one that's going to be delivering that? When, people ask me that all the time. It's like, there's 20 bazillion business coaches out there in the world, and everybody's got their own special way. And,
Mhm.
I think again, to your credit, what you do is you go in there and really ask those questions and hear exactly what it is that we say, when we riff on things and you capture it. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you send back this page, a sales page, if you will, or it might be a marketing piece that, oh, that sounds like me. I said that, but you put it in a format and you put it in a linear fashion that's like, I probably wouldn't be able to come up with that. And, I think I'm a pretty decent writer and I have enough of a marketing hat on when, especially as a business coach, I can hear that, but I don't have the time sometimes. So
Yeah.
one of the reasons when I'm like jammed for time, I just know I can't do everything by myself. But I'm glad that Betty is in my corner and she's a go-to person that I can call and say, "Hey, she knows me. She's part of my community. She knows my community. She knows the kind of clients I work with." And so it's a great way to be able to, do our thing. Betty, I know that you focus on really kind of three key areas, the three services that you spend most of your time working with people. One is on sales pages, web copy, and then creating messages that the brand messaging. Did I
It's a
get those
good
right?
messaging audit to make sure that they understand where they are. And so that's the first step, and then a brand messaging platform. So they figure out what to say that makes them particularly unique.
So when you go through that brand messaging audit, can you walk people through what they might do with you or who would be the right person for that?
So it's anyone who is, so I think it's a good idea to go through a brand messaging audit at least every couple of years, just to make sure that things haven't changed so much in your environment that you need to change. So it may be that your clients have changed, or it may be that you started offering new services or new programs that are now no longer not reflected in what you're doing, or you may have stopped doing stuff that hasn't been reflected. Maybe a person in your company has shifted out, or maybe you've hired a new person. That could be the reason. It could also be somebody new came into the market and they've all of a sudden they're saying the same things that you were saying. And so, how do you want to look at who's your audience, what your offers are, who else is in your immediate market, what are they saying, and how do you fit into that whole kind of constellation of the marketplace? And is there something about your website that's working really strong? Because I usually do this with websites. I can also do it with other additional marketing materials too. But everybody usually has a website, and not everybody has additional marketing materials. But I'll look at those, I'll look at the competitors, and then I'll look at the website pretty much page by page, depending on, I mean, if you've got a 90-page website, we'll probably pick certain pages to look at. But I'll look at each page and say, well, this looks great. This needs a little bit of help. And here's how you could make that work a little stronger. So in that audit, they get a really good snapshot of where they are in the market right now, some things that they can do to strengthen it. So that's really great for anybody, but especially if you're thinking about changing your marketing, it's really good to kind of get a really strong sense of where you are before you go change everything up. Because you might want to keep some of that stuff with you instead of just throwing it all out and starting all over.
Yeah, I think that's really great. It's that wonderful saying that says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mhm.
If you've got some things, I think we all have things that are like workhorses that
Yeah.
have, been tried and true over the years. And yet, I know even for myself, the marketplace has changed. The landscape, I think, has changed a lot. The way we do business has changed a lot.
Yeah.
And I just think there's something that we all need to do as entrepreneurs to put ourselves on loudspeaker, but a smart loudspeaker, because there's too many people on loudspeakers, and not all of them, I think, are giving good information that is going to last and stand the test of time, you know?
It's another reason why it's so important to be specific to your ideal client,
Yeah.
because you could be on loudspeaker to, and a lot of people could hear you and not care. You know? But you want to be like at the right volume to the right people.
The right volume to the right people. I love that. I think that's well said. Well, you ask a question, but to me, it begs the question. This is just like off the cuff question. What if somebody like approaches you and says, Betty, I'd like you to help me with a sales page or whatever. And I know ideal clients are very important. I spend a lot of time with my people on that. A lot of people kind of talk about the demographics of, oh, I work with women from 30 to 50,
Yeah.
which we know it's kind of not enough to talk about. But what if somebody doesn't have an ideal client? They haven't done that. Is that somebody that you can work with? Or do you have certain requirements that you will look at your ideal client of who you best want to work with?
It's a little of both, where it depends on how unclear they are about what they are. I don't want to spend their money on something that's not going to be effective.
Right.
So I might turn them back to somebody like you, Marie, where you could really coach them and help them fine tune that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it just
I,
like, it depends on how far off they are from understanding who their ideal client is.
Yeah, I just think that work is so helpful. And I don't think people take the time. I mean, even for this upcoming event that I'm doing, I have to go in and really look at who is it that I want to have for this event,
Mhm.
and tailor everything I'm doing for that particular audience. And it takes some time. It takes some quiet time. It takes some pause, and then it takes working with the community of people that are putting this on to say, like, what's the best way to demonstrate this? On paper, on web, on social media, in
Mhm.
person, all of those things. I want to also get into something that I saw on your website, which I really liked, and it talked about what your process is of working with clients. And I just loved it because working with you, it's simple.
Mhm.
It's like you know where you're going, you know how to drive the bus. You bring us along, we hop on the bus, and you're driving and you're taking us along on this journey. And you call it the 4 Ds.
Yep.
So for people that are listening, this might be a good little writer downer. And the 4 Ds, one is discover,
Mhm.
another is to distill, another is to develop, and then the fourth is to deliver. So could you just walk us through that process, Betty? Because I think it's an easy way to say how you work with people.
So it's a process that kind of happens no matter what type of project I'm working on, whether it's the brand audit or messaging audit, whether it is a sales page or a website, anything that I work on, even a brochure that I would write for somebody. I start with a deep dive into who they are, what they want to do, what they want to communicate with this particular item, and who the audience is. And I really just try to get as much information as I can about that so that I can then start the distillation process, which is next. And the distillation process is all about sifting and sorting through things and kind of boiling it down to when you take out all the stuff that anybody could say, what's left? What is that really unique thing to this? And it doesn't mean we're not going to say some of that other thing because, like a lot of people work from 9 to 5. So if that's what your hours are, we're not going to not say it because it's not unique, but it's not enough to make you that go-to solution for your ideal client. So we make sure we have all the pertinent information that's needed and try to say it in a way that's really unique to you. So then the develop part is where I sit down and try to figure out, now, how am I going to say these things that are unique to you, and like to really clarify what you do and what you don't do. And so then the deliver part is when you're trying to, I say it's time to make the donuts, where you're actually writing the copy. I would be writing the copy for a sales page or for a website, or putting together the audit report so that my clients would have the information that they needed to move forward with. And so that is the 4 Ds: discover, distill, develop, deliver.
That's good, you know? Um, it's just an easy way of doing it, and in my experience, that's exactly what happens.
Mhm.
So this is just great, and I really appreciate your time here. What would you say is the best way for people to reach you, Betty?
So you can email me, and that number, that email address is betty@useyourwordsmarketing.com. And you could also go to my website and set up a phone call with me, a Zoom call. So I do a 30-minute complimentary Zoom call. So we
Terrific.
talk about what's going on for you and how I might be able to help you out. And if it's not time to do that, I would still love to like just get to know people.
It's great. Do
You
you
know,
do you have any besides your free gift? I didn't notice this. Is there anything that you have any kind of freebies or a lead magnet or anything on your website?
I have two, and I don't know if they're on there or not. I need to go check, but I had one here. It was instilling your personality in your brand. It was called Going from Blah to Brilliant.
Oh,
And the other one was about creating a framework for yourself, for your own work process.
it's really fun that you said that because we have a mutual friend who's a beautiful artist, and when I watch her with an empty page and she puts water and paint on the paper, I always called it from blob to beautiful. So from blah to brilliant. That's good. We're on the same wavelength. Um, very, very fun. Well, this is it. So you want to definitely go to useyourwordsmarketing.com and Betty Emery, and Emery is spelled Emrey. That was a mistake I made early on. I was spelling your name wrong.
I went to a conference once and I was complaining about how my name gets spelled all wrong all the time. And a lady said, well, just say it like this: Emrey. And you know what? I'd never have any trouble anymore. So I'm always grateful for her.
That's great. So this is Betty Emery, EY. It's really good. I'm excited to really have people connect with you, and I encourage those of you that are on the fence or you think that it's going to be too complicated, have a conversation to see what she might be able to provide for your business. And I can tell you that she's done two projects for me so far that have come out brilliantly, by the way. And I'm very excited to put the spotlight on Betty today. So, for those of you listening, for those of you watching here, this is Marie Fertoni, CEO of Get Clients Everywhere at getclientseverywhere.com. And I work as a business coach, consultant, professional speaker, and now best-selling author. And we are here to serve the community of entrepreneurs. And my stand for that is that I think entrepreneurship is a great access to peacekeeping in the world. And I think women should be leading the world. So, with that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Betty. Appreciate you being here. And we will see you next time for the next Share Your Shine interview. Bye
Thanks.
bye.